Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Robyn McCorquodale. Hey!
Such a pleasure to be here, Laurie. Thank you for having me.
It is such a pleasure to have you. I'm going to tell you why I'm so excited that she's my guest. I had the pleasure of seeing Robyn in her latest cabaret show. We're going to call it a cabaret.
We are going to call it a cabaret show.
It's really a cool cabaret called Diary of a Piano Girl. And you know what? Tell them. You can tell them what it is, and I'll tell them why I was so fascinated and thought you'd be so perfect for the show. Just tell them kind of what the show is based on.
Well, the show is Diary of a Piano Girl, multimedia presentation featuring songs, original songs, stories, original stories, and 7 continents. I like the alliteration of it.
Yes, lots of songs and continents and stuff. 7, I like 7, yeah.
I'm incredibly grateful to have traveled all 7 continents performing music. And I had this idea that it would be very cool to put together a show that could feature my journey, my music, lessons learned, crazy stories.
Yes, I love them.
And the visuals, because in recent years I've really become very interested not only in photography but in videography. So I thought, how cool would it be to maybe put some of those images up in behind the music? And so I just had this idea, and it's just so exciting that the time has arrived that I've been able to present it. And I originally premiered it in Vancouver, where I'm from, and it went well, and I thought, I've got to take it to New York.
I got to take it to the States.
That's right. That's right.
I don't even know. There's so many things that are impressive about the show. She wrote all the songs in there herself. She performs them, and she plays piano at the same time. But what it is, it's almost like it's a musical journey that is accompanied with video of some of your great stories. And it's also the messages in the music also, because each song tells its own story. It's really a little masterpiece. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that she put together beautifully and turned out. But while I was listening to the show, it was like, this woman is, I don't want to say a rebel. I don't want to say a revolutionary.
No, I'll take that as a compliment.
She doesn't really take the path most taken. It doesn't choose the path most taken. And I said, well, there's got to be a whole bunch of qualities in addition to creativity, which we all can see that you have.
Absolutely.
And I said, I think I'd love to have you on this show, and let's find out how you did all these exciting things. Let me tell people just a bit about the Coaching Game for those who are just tuning in for the first time. The Coaching Game is based on Points of View, which was created in Israel, and it's a coaching tool with cards that are designed to bring right and left brain thinking together, and the results are kind of amazing. You're kind of traveling on the path, and then you go over here. And Robyn reminded me of that. It's like, she's kind of traveling on the path, and then, whoa, what are you doing in Borneo? It's like, and wait till you hear what she's doing in Borneo. And it's just opening horizons and expanding perspectives. And I wanted to hear firsthand how you did that. What gave you the courage to do that?
I have to be honest with you, Laurie, and say that it's the biggest surprise to myself that I ended up with a music career. I went to university and got my music degree, but that was only because I thought it would be easier than an arts degree. I had already had quite a substantial background in music, going through the conservatory in Canada in piano and voice, and I thought, well, instead of doing a general arts degree, why not do a music degree? It'll be easy. Well, that wasn't really the case. But I did get my degree, and with no intention of ever pursuing a career in music. That would be crazy. How could you make a living? And especially at that point in time, I was only a classically trained musician. I was a lyric colorature soprano, and I didn't see a bright future in that career.
There's not a lot of record companies dying to sign you, no.
But I received a phone call from an entertainment agent offering me my very first gig to be the very first entertainer of all of North America to go and sing for the richest man in the world, who at that time was the Sultan of Brunei, big wow. I mean, I didn't even know where Brunei was, but big wow.
I'm not sure I do now, but yes, okay. I know it's out there, and I know they're rich, yes.
Very wealthy, and you know, I was excited, and at the same time, as I've been many times in my life, I'm so excited to say yes to adventure, and then it's like, oh wow, I'm terrified now.
Now what?
And now what? And in this particular instance, it was a Muslim country. What do I wear? I only knew classical music. What do I sing for a Southeast Asian king? And the worst bit, I wasn't really considered legal in Borneo because at that time, and probably even now, technically speaking, entertainment of any form is not legal. I mean, bowling, I was told, wasn't even legal. I don't know if that was true. But, so, I mean, it was fine. I was working for the king, but just to kind of keep things a bit hush-hush, I had to say I was just visiting a friend and staying at the Sheraton, you know, and it's like, who has friends in Borneo?
Yeah.
So,
we all wish we did, but we don't. Yes.
So it was a bit of a crazy beginning, you know. I took a leap of faith, and I ended up in a palace and with a prince and his harem of 40 Asian beautiful women.
40. Oh, wow.
40
Okay.
Asian women,
Okay.
yeah. And if you think it's sounding like The King and I, Laurie, I can assure you it's more like Tweety Bird lands at Hefner's Asian Bunny Palace.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Okay.
So it was quite a first gig.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine how anything would compare to that. It would be like, where do you go from there?
Well, and exactly. And even though up until that moment I had not planned a career in music, when I did get home, it's like, wow, what next? I mean, adventure.
Yeah.
And I've realized that that has always been my through line. I love adventure, and I actually love and embrace not knowing what lies up ahead, even though it forces me to push through a lot of fear. I think that is part of the challenge and certainly part of the reward when you actually do that and you get to a next level of what you're doing or what you want to creating. And you know, it started out very much by accident, but at each stage of my career I've taken on new aspects of the career. I mean, started songwriting, started recording, and now creating a whole show, and every step has been challenging and incredibly rewarding.
Do you think, you say that you love adventure, do you think whatever career you chose, would that be an essential part? Would that be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. No one's ever asked me that, but yes, because I think that is part of me. And even though I chose music, that's how my passion for music has led me to a life of passion. And I think no matter what I would have chosen to do, I think I mentioned to you earlier on that my original career plan was broadcast journalism. Yeah. Now, it's also a very creative field, but certainly I would have found adventure in that. I think it is part of who I am, and I definitely need that. That is something that's very important to.
So it's kind of like a deal breaker. You don't
Absolutely.
You're not going to be sitting in a desk all day. It's not going to happen.
No, and I like to have fun.
Yeah.
And I like to be out with people and having new experiences as well.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if when you were starting out and it was like, were you aware that this was a requirement, or did you just go, I'm going to follow the adventure and I'm going to throw a little music in while I do it? I'm just wondering because it seems like right now you have the ultimate career. It's like a career that really offers you, well, she can tell you some of the crazy things she's done, and it's like, you know, and you've traveled, you're in 7 continents, people know you all over the world. So what do you think came first?
I think it was in terms of really what got me started, what gave me the opportunity was being a singer and being a piano player. So that gave me the opportunity for that particular engagement in Southeast Asia. Being blonde helped as well.
Yeah. Yes. I hear that helps a lot, all over the place, yes, which is good.
So, well, it did definitely in Borneo at that time.
Yeah.
But I think that, and really at that time, I still didn't believe that I could make a career of music. I mean, and for a long time, I didn't believe I could make a career of music. I just sort of thought, well, this is going well. And I came back from Borneo, and then I did some ship work, which is a whole other chapter, cruise ship work.
Yeah.
I lived in Hong Kong for a year, and the offers to work abroad were unlimited, it seemed. I mean, just a lot of opportunity. because I wasn't just a singer, I could also play piano. So I was self-contained.
Ah.
And that's always been the gift on the journey, because although it can be challenging to make a living as a musician, I actually can say I've always had work, and I'm very grateful for that. I don't take it for granted, but I know it's because I'm a self-contained act. And even though most often, especially in recent years, I'm performing with a band, I am a solo act. And I'm either hiring whoever I'm working with, or other people are hiring them, whoever I'm working with. So, but being the solo entity. But definitely it was my love of music, not realizing I could take it to a professional level, but it was my love of music. But then it opened up so much more opportunity and passion for life in other things that I mean, I love travel. And I love meeting people, and I feel like I have this family of friends around the world, which I'm just incredibly grateful.
That's amazing.
And when you do travel, and especially when you travel on your own, something happens. I mean, I love traveling on my own because you meet people. And if you're traveling with someone, you don't meet those people. And I feel like I've been protected. I really do along this journey, because I always seem to either I find my people or they find me. But it's wonderful, no matter where you go, whether it's Haifa, Israel, Borneo, South America, Antarctica. I found my penguins in Antarctica.
There are penguins in the show, yes. And you mentioned passion, which is one of the cards that Robyn chose from the Points of View deck. And so obviously, I mean, in your face, we can tell your passion. Your passion is your music, and your passion is your adventure. What do you think is, you mentioned fear, and that's a part of doing something different. And you have spent at least the last 20, 25 years doing lots of things differently. What do you think, what do you tell yourself when, because we all are fearful, we all don't like change. So what are some of the things that you tell yourself to get yourself to make that leap of faith that it's like, this will be, I will survive, and maybe even have a little fun,
a few things, I guess. First of all, just trust. I trust.
That's another card she chose.
Yes, trust is big. Trust is stepping out in faith. And I never realized initially that I did that. It was actually a friend of a family that had mentioned that to my mother when she was asking me, oh, where's Robyn off to now? She's in Hong Kong or wherever I was at the time. And she said, she's always stepped out in faith. And my mom told me this, and I thought, really? It always feels like I'm stepping out in fear.
That's interesting. I wonder if they're one and the same.
Well, and I think
you have to have faith when you're stepping out in fear. It's like, oh, it'll be okay, it'll be okay.
And it's how you channel it as well. It's the same as when you step out on a stage. And are you going to channel that nervous energy into fear, or are you going to channel it into adrenaline and excitement and positivity? And sometimes it's really just a shift. It's a very small shift, or one breath, and you can change it from fear to fun.
That's interesting, because the first time I ever did this show was a guest, and I found myself just before the show started so nervous, and I was like, what is going on? And I went, okay, Laurie, you can ruin this whole experience by being afraid, or you can have fun. I went, okay, I choose fun. And I had the best time, and it was after that I was totally hooked. So it's just an awareness that choice. The choice is, and again, that was another
card.
You have the choice to make it whatever it can be. I mean, there are some factors. It's like if you get, I don't know, a bad audience, but still, you can still have fun with that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it really, I mean, those are two good, again, the fear, the F fear, and the F fun.
Yeah.
And I literally would try and make that shift, even like backstage when I started doing shows on the cruise ships, and I'd be backstage waiting for them to announce me. And you do the deep breathing, and I also do squats, and I try to, do a little bit of stretching. They always look at me a little bit odd backstage, but and I think, okay, it's like you've studied for the exam, now go have fun.
Oh, I like that, yeah. Okay, you've done all you can do.
You've done all you
prepped
can.
all you can, so it's up now to have fun.
and have faith and know, like I know I'm prepared. Now I have to relax. And when I was always stepping out on on an airplane, I started saying to myself, wow, I wonder what new places and faces are going to become part of my tapestry on this next adventure. And I know because time and time again, it always happened. I'd come back with more stories and more crazy people that have enriched my life and lessons learned. And I guess along the journey, at some point, I mean, I still definitely step into the out of my comfort zone. I mean, creating Diary of a Piano Girl, risky. Everyone tells you don't do anything original, and for me,
it's so original, and that was what was so refreshing in so many ways, because all the material was original, and the video was just like, why hasn't someone thought of this before? It was just so amazing.
And I have to say, when I did the premiere in Vancouver and we video recorded it, and when I was watching it, it was a moment for me to watch it, because I thought, yeah, I think this works.
It does.
And
and
I felt that before when I was creating it, but you don't know until you do it.
Until you fly it, and yeah. That was so creative. And was there any fear involved in that, or was it just like, oh, I think this is going to be fun?
You know what? The only fear is if you listen to too many people who are saying you can't do this, you can't you can't do original music, and that's when. And I know I mentioned earlier, you know, my intuition has never let me down. However, have let it down when I don't when I don't pay attention to it. And intuitively, I knew that this was something unique that I had to do, and I felt it was like it was part of my journey to bring this to fruition, because I knew I had a unique journey, and why can't I share this in all the ways that I've been allowed to grow, not just musically, but start photography and videography. And it's not like there are a lot of people that sing and write music that have been to 7 continents and actually have visuals to show that.
Right.
And I don't take any of it for granted. I'm incredibly grateful that I've had this opportunity to experience so many different cultures and so many different ways of thinking, and it's just been one wonderful education that continues as a diary continues.
I think you have an obligation, simply because you have had such unique experiences, you have had so many life lessons. I think you have an obligation to share it, and I would encourage people. Not all people are going to go to Borneo, and not all people are going to sing for a king, but everybody has a unique story, and I think they should, however they can, get it out. If that's in service to others, or if that's in writing a book, or creating a movie, or whatever you're doing, or singing in the church. I mean, whatever gets you. Everybody has a unique story, and I admire the courage that it took for you to put yours on stage under the bright lights and actually tell some very candid stories about how you got to where you are today.
Right.
And the part I love about it is, I love the name The Diary, because a diary means you can keep writing. So the story isn't over. I mean, if it was the book of a piano girl, it would be done.
Right.
You know, this is the end. And you can just add on to it and refine it and, you know, keep the video flowing,
Absolutely, and that is what's exciting. And you bring up a really important point that I do think, like, everyone has something special.
Yeah.
And some of us, I mean, I consider myself a very late bloomer. You know, it takes a bit longer to get to that point, but there is no deadline, and you have that, and I think that knowing that helps with the fear as well, because when you feel like, wow, you know, you have a gift to offer, whatever that may be, and really all of life is creative. It's not just music. I mean, you can put creativity to anything that you're doing in this world, and if you put your own special uniqueness to it, then that can take away some of the fear, because if you focus on the creativity, you don't think about the fear as much.
Oh, okay. I like that. If you focus on the creativity and the uniqueness, yes. It's like that's such an important lesson, and I just wish there was some way you could get that out to kids today with the bullying. It's like, oh my gosh, you being ordinary or being a part of the crowd that is so non-expressive, but being the unique person you are, I don't know how you get that message out, but I love that your music's doing it.
Right.
Tell me about she has so many accolades, but her song was chosen to open the 2010 Olympics. How did that come about?
Well, it was featured in the national press, and there was a big call out to musicians well, I know in Vancouver. I'm not sure if it was how far it went, and they were looking for positive music that they could feature in the press. during the Olympics. So it was quite a moment when my song Shining Star was chosen and was featured in the press February 12th, 2010, which was the launch of the Olympics, and it also happened to be my birthday. So you can imagine my joy.
It was a good
that
celebration.
Day, yes.
Yes.
Seeing my face in the paper, like I'm not ego-driven by this career, but it was a nice
still.
moment to see that.
If it had to happen, why not on your birthday?
Absolutely,
absolutely. What a great thing. And well, she has a couple of albums out. We don't have the third one here, but the one is called Connected, and one is Sleep with the Angels. I like the story behind Sleep with the Angels also.
Yes.
How did that come about? And you'll see this is how she's just taken her life and put it in song, you know, which is, I think, amazing. But how did that one come about?
I was on a 30-day South American cruise on a ship and met a wonderful woman by the name of Edna. We called her Lady Edna for the grace and elegance that she always carried herself with, to which she said, how am I ever going to go back home to Texas? No one calls me Lady Edna in Texas.
Maybe ma'am.
And Edna, I mean, just an inspiring person. She'd be out there every day in port, just giving her from 7 a.m. to whenever she had to be back on the ship. But that didn't stop her from being part of the late night hang. So she would be with us every night. We would be sharing stories. And I just loved, you just knew this was a person that got life. And I love being with people like that because you can learn so much. Anyhow, every evening when she would leave the group, she'd always turn to me and say, good night, Robyn, sleep with angels. And I have to say, Laurie, as someone who travels alone, away from my family and away from close friends, they were just really 3 comforting words to hear. And I would look forward to hearing those words every night from Edna. So by the end of the cruise, Edna planned a big soiree for all the friends that she met on board, which was practically the entire ship.
The whole ship, right.
Because that's the type of person she is. And I surprised her. I had written this song that was inspired by those 3 words, sleep with angels. And so it was quite a touching moment. And in fact, when I premiered Diary of a Piano Girl, which is celebrating the album Sleep with Angels, Edna came out to it in Vancouver, and she was sitting in the front row, and it was just she was supposed to be here for my premiere that you were at in New York, and unfortunately she had to cancel at the last minute, So, but she's a very special woman, and it just brings the point that I've met Edna, and I've met other people along the journey that you love to meet these people that inspire you.
Right. I think people, along with music, can inspire so much. And if you're open to the experience, what would you say, what are some of the life lessons that you've learned just with your unique career and your unique ability?
I think something really big is, and it's empowering, is be accountable for your life. Be responsible for your life. And sometimes that might feel terrifying. It might be easier to blame someone else for your life.
Always. You always look for that person, but if you can't find them, then.
But if you take responsibility and acknowledge and honor your successes, and which we don't do either half the time. We're so busy moving forward or moving in some direction, we don't acknowledge that, wow, we've actually achieved some goals along the way. So I think it's important to be aware of our accomplishments and what we're actually succeeding at. And if there's anything that perhaps needs a little bit of fine tweaking, take responsibility for it and make changes in our lives. So for me, it's really big to keep aware and be accountable and take responsibility for my life. And I just find that so empowering because it gives me the freedom to make changes and to say, yes, Robyn, you've done a great job here. Or, you know what, Robyn, I think
you could do a little better here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's really empowering. And for me, that's a huge message that I like to live my life by.
I think, and we're always so anxious, it seems, to give away or give other people credit.
Oh,
and that's
yes.
especially as women. I
Yes.
don't want to make it gender because men do it too, but it's like, oh, okay, we're supposed to be modest and we're supposed to give credit and nurture, and it's like, but I think a lot of times people take for granted some of the things that they can do that others can't, or some of the things that they've survived, even more so, that others, you know, may end up dealing with along the way, but you've already done it. Yeah, so I think when you own it and you go, you know what, this is, and maybe I didn't do this perfectly, but I got it. I got through it. I'm still here. So that's a big lesson. I like that, taking responsibility.
Right. Yeah, and realizing your power. And you know, before I embarked on this career, which was a gift to me, it was a gift to me. When I look back now, I've always wanted adventure in my life, but prior to my career, I was getting that adventure, or thinking I needed to get that adventure, from other people outside myself. And then when I started my career, I thought, wow, no, actually my life's full of adventure. I don't need other people have contributed to the adventure of my life, but it's driven by me. And so again, yes, I mean, owning it and realizing your own power, and that you don't need anything or anyone outside yourself. They all contribute to your world and enhance it, but realize your own significance and magnificence.
Well, I love one thing that you said, and that was you're traveling by yourself and you like it. Now that's when I do a lot of stuff by myself. I'm a New Yorker. I'm cool. but traveling, it's like, oh, to another country. Now, by myself in the United States, fine, but to another country, I would be petrified. But I love that you flipped it and went, you know, what a challenge. What an opportunity to meet new people, learn new customs, maybe throw in a few language barrier things, you know, words that you can think. And I'm going to have to work on that, but that's something, don't take that for granted, because I'm not sure everybody could do that.
And I've had very strong women even tell me that but I think until you do that, maybe you don't realize that you would actually embrace it as well.
And I think it's I have this crazy relationship with fear. It's like if I realize that I'm afraid of it, then I have to do it, which could get me killed someday. But so far, so good. But so it's like while I'm listening to you talk, it's like, I've just accepted that as a fear of something I could never do. But it's like, maybe I should challenge that and see, you know, maybe just go to Canada I can do, but another country,
And I think you find also that when you are in those situations, I mean, it's like anything, you know, if you're with someone and you're walking somewhere that you've never been to, if they're there and they know where they're going, you're not paying attention.
Exactly.
If you're on your own, I'm paying attention.
Yes,
I'm paying attention, and I'm really in tune with my intuition. That's times when I never do not listen. Like I am really in tune with my intuition and how I feel about a situation, and do not put myself as much as I can in any risk. I mean, and I've done certain things where, you know, I've been in countries at 3 in the morning where I'm supposed to be just like jumping in a cab and going to a hotel. I don't think so.
No. Well, let me stop
I'm in
you.
Ethiopia.
We've
got
got 20 seconds left. Do you believe
my gosh.
that? I know.
My goodness.
We're gonna next time she comes to town. I promise I'm having her back. Robyn, it has been such an honor, one, to see this beautiful inspirational show, and two, to have you come on and inspire others. Thank you so much. You can find her at robynsong.com. She's got a whole bunch of stuff on the website. Thank you, Robyn.
Thank you so much, Laurie, for having me. It's been a real pleasure.